and welcome to VOP News Update. I'm Moses Humphrey. House of Representatives has confirmed the appointment of the service chiefs recently appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Their confirmation came after the adoption of the report of House Ad Hoc Committee which screened them. The lower chamber had recently commenced the screening of the service chiefs, days after the Red Chamber confirmed the appointment of the military chiefs. The screening committee was led by the majority leader of the House, Julius Ihonbere. The chairman of the ad hoc committee of the House, Babajimi Benson, had said members of the armed forces must adhere strictly to the provisions of the Appropriation Act and urged them to work in synergy by sharing intelligence. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives yesterday rejected an amendment to a motion seeking to suspend the recent increase in the pump price of petrol. A member, Honorable Ugochinyere Ikenga, had moved a motion calling for investigation into the increases in the price of petrol since the removal of petrol subsidy. The House resolved to carry out an investigation to ascertain the veracity of the increases. In another development, the House also rejected a motion to set up an ad hoc committee to collate the views of lawmakers, civil society organizations, as well as the public, and engage the government on the selection of the best palliative options to cushion the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. Now, this comes amid uncertainties by Nigerians and indeed members of the House who questioned how the funds approved for the president would be utilized. Honorable Dennis Agbo, who moved the motion, had said it would be best for Nigerians to determine the best palliatives for them, just as he expressed concern about how little the proposed monthly cash handout of 8,000 naira can achieve for a selected household of 5 members under the current potential inflationary pressure. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has said the salaries of workers in the public sector will be reviewed to mitigate the effects of petrol subsidy removal. The pump price of petrol has continued to surge across the country since the president removed the subsidy. Well, currently a litre of fuel is now selling for 617 naira in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and 630 naira in Adamawa. The Niger State Governor, Malam Muhammadu Buhari, has stated that he will appoint 100 women into various offices in his cabinet before the week runs out. The governor said this was in keeping with his campaign promise to women to abide by the affirmative action. Governor Buhari made the disclosure when he received the executives of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, led by its chairperson, Mrs. Bola Jibogun, at the Government House, Mina. The last and final batch of the Lagos State pilgrims that participated in the 2023 Hajj in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will arrive in Lagos today. The Assistant Director, Public Affairs, Lagos State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Taufik Lawal, disclosed this in a statement that the flight conveying the pilgrims was scheduled to depart King Abdulaziz International Airport, Jeddah, at 10 a.m. Saudi Arabian time. Well, do recall that the return journey of Lagos pilgrims began on July 10 with the arrival of the first batch of 380 pilgrims via a special flight. Speaking on the return of the final batch, Amirul Hajj stressed that the return journey, which was initially planned to end by July 22, was backdated to July 20. Celebrated Nigerian writer and scholar Professor Kole Omotoso passed away yesterday. The South African-based revered scholar, writer, clocked 80 on April 21, with members of the Nigerian literary community, including ex-President Muhammadu Buhari, joining family, friends, and professional colleagues to celebrate the occasion. Well, famous for his 1988 novel, Just Before Dawn, which documents evolution of Nigeria as a country. Omotoso relocated from Nigeria to South Africa as a visiting professorship in English at the University of Stirling, National University of Lesotho, and later the University of West Cape, South Africa, where he was between 1991 and 2000. He also served as a professor at the drama department of the Stellenbosch University from 2001 to 2003. In sports, new signing Christopher Nkunku was among the goal scorers as Chelsea romped to a 5-0 win over Ryan Reynolds' League Two side, Wrexham, in the first game of their US tour. Mauricio Pochettino took to the dugout for the first time as Blues boss, having named a youthful starting first 11, but did include new summer rival Nicholas Jackson in attack. The Senegalese international took little time to make his mark, skipping past the challenge in the 3rd minute before squaring for Ian Maatsen to slot home. While Dutch left back Maatsen, 21, doubled his tally before halftime as he exchanged passes with Kani Chukwuemeka and struck a crisp effort home from the 18-yard box. Nkunku was one of a number of new arrivals at the interval as Pochettino gave more of his experienced heads time to impress. Well, even so, it took until the 80th minute for them to add to their lead when Conor Gallagher's drive made it 3 following good work from fellow halftime substitute Raheem Sterling. Nkunku's goal came in the final minute of the normal time when the French forward raced past goalkeeper Rob Lenton to fire home. In foreign news, rescue workers in India battled difficult terrain and bad weather as they searched for survivors of a landslide that killed at least 10 persons in a mountain village after incessant rain soaked the slopes. The landslide occurred in the middle of the night in the mountain hamlet of Ishalwadi, about 60 kilometers from Mumbai. It was gathered that about 100 people were found trapped under the debris, and rescue workers were struggling in heavy rain to find survivors as relatives waited for news at the base of the mountain. Incessant rain has closed schools, flooded roads, and disrupted trains across Maharashtra, which is India's richest state. Where Russia launched a massive strike on Ukrainian grain and export infrastructure after pulling out of an international grain deal that allowed Ukraine to export across the Black Sea. The strikes were the second consecutive night of attacks on the region and came after Russia pulled out of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, a wartime deal that had been in place since last summer, allowing Ukrainian grain exports to reach countries that face the threat of hunger. The Kremlin claimed that its export demands under the deal were not being honored and pulled out of the deal just hours before launching the attacks. According to Ukrainian officials, the Russians launched Caliber cruise missiles, Onyx supersonic and Kh-22 anti-ship missiles, and also kamikaze drones. Ukrainian forces were able to shoot down about 37 of the missiles, according to officials, but many did manage to make their way through defenses. Well, that's the news update on VOP TV. We'd like you to subscribe and engage with us on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV, and on other social media channels at VOP TV Live.